The rain pounded against the windows like angry fists, mirroring the storm brewing inside me as I stared at the flickering screen in the dim office light. It was late, the kind of hour where shadows stretch long and secrets whisper from the corners. I was Elena, a quiet analyst in a high-stakes crisis management firm, the unsung hero behind the scenes who pieced together puzzles that kept companies afloat during disasters. My world was one of endless data streams, late nights, and the quiet satisfaction of averting chaos without fanfare. But that night, as thunder rumbled outside, I felt a different kind of electricity, a mix of dread and anticipation that hinted at the betrayal lurking just beyond the horizon. I joined the firm 5 years ago, fresh from a traumatic experience that had reshaped my life. A mountain climbing expedition gone wrong, where I'd lost friends to an avalanche and barely escaped myself. It left me with scars, both visible on my hands from frostbite and invisible ones that made me wary of trust. At work, I kept to myself, focusing on my role, predicting risks, mapping escape routes for corporate teams in volatile regions. My boss, Marcus, was the charismatic leader everyone adored, tall, confident, with a voice that commanded rooms. He led our elite response unit, the one dispatched to extract executives from sticky situations abroad. Elena's are behind the desk, wizard, he'd say with a wink during meetings. But his tone always carried a subtle edge, like I was more ornament than essential. The team revered him, especially after a recent miracle rescue in the Andes, where he'd supposedly guided a stranded group to safety through sheer grit. Stories of his heroism circulated like legends, dodging landslides, rationing supplies, emerging victorious. I smiled through the praise, but something gnawed at me. Marcus had always dismissed my input, mocking my cautious analyses as overthinking. Someone like you couldn't save a houseplant, let alone a team. He joked once in front of everyone, his laughter echoing as colleagues chuckled uncomfortably. I brushed it off, burying the hurt, but it festered like an open wound. That stormy evening, we were prepping for another mission of volatile extraction in a remote jungle. The team gathered in the conference room, maps spread out, tension thick in the air. Marcus strutted in, clapping backs and boosting morale. "We've got this, folks." Just like last time, he boomed as he outlined the plan. Ignoring my flagged risks about unstable weather patterns, our eyes met. His smirk was there, that familiar belittling glint. Little did he know, as lightning illuminated the room, that I held a secret from that Andy's mission of truth. That would expose the fragility of his pedestal. The mystery simmered beneath the surface. Why did his stories never quite align with the data I'd reviewed? The air felt charged, pregnant with the impending revelation that would shatter illusions and force hidden truths into the light. But what I didn't know that day, as the meeting dragged on and rain lashed the building like tears from the sky, was how deeply Marcus's mockery rooted in his own insecurities. He'd always positioned himself as the savior, the one who swooped in during crises, while relegating me to the shadows. Elena's reports are cute, but real saving happens in the field, he'd say, his words slicing through my confidence like a cold wind. The team nodded along, their loyalty to him blinding them to the subtle erosion of my role. I'd pour hours into simulations, cross-referencing satellite data with on-ground intel. But he'd wave it away, claiming instinct over information. The betrayal unfolded gradually, like a fog creeping in. Weeks before, during the Andes prep, I'd warned of an incoming storm based on patterns I'd studied from my own survival ordeal. Marcus ignored it, leading the team into peril. What no one knew except me was that I'd anonymously alerted local guides through back channels, providing coordinates that diverted them to safety. I'd done it quietly, not for glory, but to protect lives, drawing from the pain of my past losses. When they returned, Marcus took full credit, spinning tales of his brilliance. I sensed the shift in the wind. He'd boast, while I sat silent, my contributions erased. The heartbreak hit hardest when I overheard him in the break room, days after the return. Elena's useless in a real crunch to Scarred from her little mountain mishap. He confided to a colleague, his voice dripping with disdain. Scarred, yes, but those scars had made me vigilant, not weak. Tears welled as I hid in a hallway, feeling shattered. Like the trust I'd placed in the team crumbled to dust. Why betray me like this? Was it jealousy, fear that my quiet strength threatened his spotlight? The emotional struggle consumed me nights spent questioning my worth, replaying his mocks until anger simmered beneath the sorrow. Then came the tipping point, reviewing mission logs for the upcoming jungle op. I found discrepancies. Marcus had altered reports, burying my warnings and inflating his role. Worse, he'd confided in emails uncovered through a secure audit I ran that he knew the risks but pushed ahead for the hero narrative to secure a promotion. The realization crashed over me like an avalanche, burying me in betrayal's weight. My heart ached for the team he'd endangered, for the lies that could have cost lives. I felt broken, exposed, my past traumas resurfacing in waves of doubt. Yet, amid the turmoil, a shift stirred within. Staring at my scarred hands one dawn, I remembered the strength that pulled me from that mountain grave. No more hiding. The pain-forged resolve I'd transformed from shadowed supporter to truth-bearer, channeling my hurt into a plan that would illuminate his deceptions. This wasn't vengeance born of rage, but justice from a place of quiet power, ready to emerge from the darkness. Until everything changed that fateful afternoon, when the truth I'd guarded became the key to unlocking the chains of betrayal. The team assembled for the final briefing on the jungle mission, tension palpable as Marcus paced like a king before his court. "We'll conquer this, just like the Andes," he declared, his voice booming with false assurance. I sat quietly, folder in hand, heart racing like a drumbeat in the silence before a storm, as he dismissed my updated risk assessment once more. Elena's overcautious as always. I stood, my voice steady despite the inner quake. "Actually, Marcus, let's revisit the Andes. Because someone like me did save everyone." The room froze, eyes widening as I projected the logs onto the screen, timestamps of my anonymous alerts, satellite proofs of the diverted path, emails exposing his reckless gambles. "You mocked me as useless," I continued, emotion thickening my words. "But I was the one who rescued your team from the brink you led them to." Marcus's face paled, his confident stance crumbling like sand. "This is fabricated," he stammered. But the evidence was irrefutable witness statements from guides I'd contacted, confirming my role. The team murmured in shock, their idol tarnished before them. The revenge rippled out with measured grace, not destruction. I reported the alterations to upper management, sparking an internal review that stripped Marcus of his pending promotion and placed him on probation. Whispers spread through the firm, his heroic tales unraveling into cautionary whispers. He confronted me later, alone in the hallway, voice broken. "Why expose me like this?" I met his gaze, calm amid the storm. "Because lies endanger us all. I saved you once now. Face the truth." He walked away, shoulders slumped, his ultimate regret etched in the silence dot in the weeks that followed. Peace bloomed like sunlight after rain. The team acknowledged my contributions, offering apologies that mended the rifts. I stepped into a lead role, my voice no longer silenced, forging stronger bonds through honesty. Marcus, humbled, sought redemption through genuine growth, a quiet nod to the change I'd sparked. Looking back, that mockery wasn't just words, it was a catalyst, revealing that true saving comes from within, not accolades. Betrayal can shatter us, but in its fragments, we find the strength to rebuild. The lesson lingers. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Their unseen acts hold the power to illuminate darkness, guiding us toward authenticity and deeper connections.